I know that this may be an unpopular opinion, but this is true, you guys. Women are also victims of the abortion industry. The abortion industry is predatory. It's financially backed in many different ways. And women are also victims of the abortion industry. Innocent children in the womb are obviously the first victims. Their lives are brutally ended. They're killed in the womb, in the one place where they should be the safest. But we have to also acknowledge that the abortion industry is predatory towards women. And I know we see the extremes online, the extremes of the shrieking women wearing t-shirts that say, I had 21 abortions, the blue-haired feminists who were at the marches and they say that a baby in the womb is nothing more than a parasite. But these images that we see, these are actually a minority of the women who opt in for abortions. There are many women, millions of women probably, who choose to get an abortion because they're scared, they're hopeless, they're coerced, and they feel like they have no other option. There are many moms, a lot of moms who already have children who opt in for an abortion because they feel like they have no other choice, whether it's because they don't have any help financially or they don't have any help familially. And I think we should be speaking more to these women. We should be connecting more with these women. We should be connecting more with their pain and their suffering rather than just shouting online about how all women who get abortions are sluts. And Live Action came out with some statistics about this in recent years about how many women, the percentage of women who get an abortion that feel coerced by their husband or their boyfriend or partner, whatever it is, to get an abortion. And I know that a lot of men hear this and they're like, oh, women are they keep shirking personal responsibility. Okay, well, you can't have it both ways. Like, do you think that men are meant to lead? If you think that men are meant to lead, especially the head of the families, and that men naturally have a sense of leadership over women, then you have to acknowledge that there are a lot of men who lead their girlfriend or their wife to get an abortion because they don't want to have a kid. And I think that we focus too much on the extremes of these blue-haired feminists who are like, I got so many abortions, I'm so proud of it. Shout your abortion from the rooftop. That's not the majority of the types of women who are getting abortions. A lot of women who are getting abortions are just everyday women who are terrified, who feel like they have no help. And I know this is a very unpopular opinion amongst the right now, but I always ask, if you listen to my podcast, I'm always asking the question, what are we really trying to do here, guys? Are we really trying to help women and help grow families? Or are we just trying to yell at women online and condemn them and call them sluts and hoes and say that they're all evil? Because what are we really trying to do here? Because if we're really trying to help women and help families grow and prevent children from being slaughtered in the womb, I think we need to acknowledge that the majority of women who go in to get an abortion are not these crazy blue-haired feminists that hate babies. I think a lot of times they are just scared and hopeless. And it breaks my heart that a woman would get a positive pregnancy test and even consider ending that life because she doesn't have the support that she needs. It breaks my heart. And I think we should be asking the question a little bit more often of how can we support women more? And yes, I know, I fully acknowledge, I think it's great that conservative pro-life people are statistically much more likely to devote time and money and their volunteer efforts to women and families and children compared to leftists. That's great. I think we can always do more. I can do more. Even me, from a personal perspective, I'm like, I don't feel like I do enough for women and for moms and for families. We have to acknowledge that women are not really supported the same way now that they used to be in their families and their communities. Even the small example of my church, if a woman has a baby, bam, meal train. Everyone signs up. The church sends out a list. You sign up for a meal, you bring them a meal. So the woman's got a meal for a couple of weeks every day. Little things like that. There's a built-in God family in the Orthodox Church. You have the child's godparents, you have your own godparents, and you have these built-in God families that are there for you to help support you. And there have been times, even in my own church, where a woman gets pregnant before, the couple feels like they're ready for it. They have support. It's there. It's built in. And I think more women need that. I'm not saying that the choices they make is right. I'm not saying that it's justified to have an abortion. No, it's not justified to have an abortion. But I still think that it's better for us to ask the question, how can we support one another to where that is not even an option for women anymore? I don't even want it to be an option. I want you to get pregnant and feel like you have the support, even if it's going to be really hard. I don't even want that to be a thought in your mind. And I think the hyper individualization of American culture is sometimes to our detriment, because we're like, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. The American dream, the white picket fence, you got to do it by yourself. My parents did it by themselves. My grandparents, we all did it by ourselves. Yeah, that's great. But again, this hyper individualization and isolation of American culture is not helping anybody, particularly women, because our ancestors didn't live like this. We lived in high trust societies, tight-knit communities where we helped each other. The women showed up for one another. And now that's gone. And I know with modern society, it's harder to have those high trust societies, but it is absolutely possible to, my baby's kicking so hard right now. My goodness gracious. It's like, yeah, baby's definitely awake in there. But it's definitely possible to build these local communities and religious communities, particularly, that support women and support families. So I'm going to leave it at that.